Ever wondered how Amish communities weather economic storms that devastate other rural areas? Their survival strategies demonstrate collective resilience that modern individualistic societies struggle to achieve during financial crises. Mutual aid. Modern families facing financial crises often exhaust personal savings, max out credit cards, and declare bankruptcy when individual resources run out. Amish communities respond to member hardships through immediate mutual aid, where neighbors provide direct financial assistance, food, labor, and material support without expectation of repayment. When one family struggles, the entire community mobilizes resources to prevent individual economic collapse through collective responsibility and shared burden. Debt avoidance. Contemporary society operates on credit systems where families routinely carry mortgage, car, credit card, and educational debt that becomes overwhelming during economic downturns. Amish cultural practices emphasize cash purchases, debt avoidance, and living within actual income rather than projected earnings. This cash only approach prevents the debt spiral that destroys families during recessions while building habits of financial discipline that create genuine economic security through asset accumulation rather than leveraged consumption that amplifies economic hardship during downturns. Shared resources. Individual ownership of expensive equipment creates financial burden that many families cannot sustain during economic hardship, leading to equipment repossession, business failures, and reduced productive capacity. Amish communities share costly farming equipment, construction tools, and business machinery among multiple families, dramatically reducing individual capital requirements while maintaining productive capacity. Shared ownership of tractors, combines, and specialized tools allows entire communities to maintain agricultural and business operations without individual families bearing full equipment costs. This collective approach provides economic efficiency while preventing equipment debt that destroys individual farms during financial stress. Skill exchange. Market economies require cash payment for services, creating hardship when families lack money for essential repairs, maintenance, or specialized work during economic downturns. Cash shortages prevent access to needed services, while skilled workers lose income when customers cannot afford to pay. Amish communities operate extensive skill exchange systems where members trade services directly without cash transactions. A carpenter might repair a neighbor's barn in exchange for veterinary care for livestock, while a blacksmith provides horseshoeing services in return for electrical work or plumbing repairs. This bartering system maintains community productivity and ensures essential services remain available during cash shortages that would otherwise prevent necessary work. Families receive needed services while skilled workers maintain productive activity even when cash income disappears. The skill exchange creates economic resilience by utilizing human capital even when financial capital becomes unavailable during economic hardships. Food security. Modern food systems depend on cash purchases from grocery stores, restaurants, and food suppliers that become inaccessible when families lose income during economic hardship. Food insecurity affects families quickly when paychecks stop, but food expenses continue. Amish communities maintain comprehensive food security through community-wide production and distribution systems that ensure no family faces hunger regardless of individual economic circumstances. Community gardens, shared livestock operations, and collective food preservation create food abundance that supports all members. During harvest seasons, families work together to process and preserve food for community distribution rather than individual family consumption only. Surplus production gets shared with families experiencing hardship, while successful harvests benefit the entire community through collective food storage. Community kitchens and shared meal preparation during crises ensure that families facing individual hardship continue receiving adequate nutrition. Food security removes the most basic survival stress during economic hardship while maintaining community health and stability. This food distribution system operates independently from cash economy, providing essential nutrition regardless of individual financial circumstances that might otherwise create food insecurity and malnutrition. Emergency funds. Individual emergency savings accounts rarely provide sufficient resources for major crises like medical emergencies, natural disasters, or business failures that require substantial financial resources beyond typical family savings capacity. Personal financial planning cannot address catastrophic expenses or community-wide emergencies. Amish communities maintain collective emergency funds contributed to by all families according to their ability, creating resource pools far larger than individual savings could provide. These community funds address major emergencies affecting individual families while also providing resources for community-wide disasters. Medical emergencies requiring expensive treatment receive funding from community emergency accounts, preventing individual families from facing bankruptcy due to healthcare costs. Natural disasters affecting multiple families trigger collective fund utilization for rebuilding and recovery efforts. Business failures or crop disasters that might destroy individual families receive community fund support to prevent economic collapse and maintain family stability within the community. Fire, flood, or storm damage gets addressed through collective resources rather than forcing affected families to bear entire reconstruction costs alone. The emergency fund system provides financial security levels impossible through individual savings while ensuring that temporary setbacks don't create permanent economic displacement or force families to leave their community support networks. Work creation. Mainstream economies depend on external employers and market demand that disappear during recessions, leaving workers unemployed without alternative income sources. Economic downturns eliminate jobs while creating competition for remaining employment opportunities that prevents quick economic recovery. Amish communities create internal work opportunities during economic hardship by generating employment within community boundaries that remain independent from external economic conditions. When outside work disappears, communities organize internal projects that provide income while improving community infrastructure and capabilities. Construction projects, including barn raising, home building, and infrastructure improvements, create employment for community members while building assets that benefit everyone. These projects utilize local labor while producing valuable community improvements that wouldn't occur during better economic times. Agricultural expansion and improvement projects provide work opportunities while increasing community food security and economic capacity. Land clearing, irrigation projects, and farm infrastructure development create employment while building long-term community economic resources. Small business development within communities creates local employment opportunities and reduces dependence on external economic conditions. Craft production, food processing, and service businesses generate internal economic activity that provides income while serving community needs. This internal work creation maintains employment and income flow during external economic downturns while building community assets and capabilities that improve long-term economic resilience and self-sufficiency. Medical cooperation. Modern healthcare costs create financial devastation for families facing serious medical conditions, with medical bankruptcy affecting hundreds of thousands of Americans annually. Despite having health insurance coverage, individual families cannot afford major medical expenses, while insurance often fails to cover complete treatment costs. Amish communities share medical expenses through collective healthcare cost sharing that prevents individual families from bearing catastrophic medical bills alone. When community members face serious illness, surgery, or chronic conditions requiring expensive treatment, the entire community contributes to medical costs. Community medical funds collect regular contributions from all families to create healthcare pools that cover major medical expenses for any community member requiring treatment. This collective approach spreads medical risk across the entire community rather than concentrating it on affected families. Serious medical conditions requiring specialized treatment, extended hospitalization, or expensive procedures receive funding from community healthcare accounts that prevent individual families from facing medical bankruptcy or being forced to choose between treatment and financial survival. Chronic conditions requiring ongoing medical care receive long-term community support through continued healthcare cost sharing that maintains treatment access without creating unsustainable financial burden for affected families. The medical cooperation system provides healthcare security that individual insurance coverage often fails to deliver, while ensuring that medical emergencies don't create economic emergencies for affected families. Community healthcare cost sharing distributes medical financial risk across the entire population while maintaining access to necessary medical treatment regardless of individual financial circumstances. Housing support. Contemporary housing markets create vulnerability during economic hardship through mortgage defaults, foreclosures, and rental evictions that leave families homeless when income disappears. Individual property ownership becomes liability during economic downturns, while housing costs consume major portions of family budgets during good times. Amish communities provide housing security through collective approaches that ensure all families maintain adequate shelter regardless of individual economic circumstances. Community housing support prevents homelessness while maintaining family stability during financial hardships. Families facing mortgage or property tax difficulties receive community assistance to prevent foreclosure and maintain housing security. Community funds help families retain property ownership while providing time for economic recovery without losing shelter and community ties. Housing construction projects utilizing community labor and materials provide affordable housing options for young families and those recovering from economic hardship. Barn raisings and house construction become community projects that provide quality housing without commercial construction costs. Property maintenance and repair receive community support through shared labor and materials that maintain housing quality without requiring individual families to bear complete maintenance costs during difficult economic periods. Roof repairs, heating system maintenance, and structural improvements become community responsibilities. Emergency housing for families experiencing temporary displacement due to fire, flood, or other disasters receives immediate community response through temporary shelter arrangements and rapid rebuilding efforts using community resources and labor. The housing support system ensures that economic hardship doesn't result in homelessness or housing insecurity while maintaining community stability and family integrity during temporary financial difficulties. Housing security provides the foundation for economic recovery while preventing the displacement that could destroy community relationships and support networks. Economic diversity. Modern economies often depend on single industries or employment sectors that create widespread unemployment and economic devastation when those sectors decline. Geographic areas depending on manufacturing, mining, or agriculture face community-wide economic collapse when primary industries fail. Amish communities maintain diverse economic activities that provide stability during varying market conditions affecting different sectors. Agricultural production, construction, manufacturing, retail, and service businesses within communities create multiple income sources that protect against sector-specific economic downturns. Agricultural diversity includes crop farming, livestock production, dairy operations, and specialty agricultural products that respond differently to market conditions and weather patterns. When grain prices fall, livestock or dairy operations may remain profitable, while crop failures might be offset by successful animal agriculture. Construction and carpentry businesses serve both community and external markets, providing income during agricultural difficulties while maintaining skills and employment opportunities that adapt to changing demand patterns. Quality craftsmanship creates market demand that remains stable during economic fluctuations. Manufacturing operations including furniture making, craft production, and food processing create value-added products that command higher prices than raw materials, while providing employment for community members with different skills and interests than farming or construction. Retail businesses serving both community and tourist markets generate income from diverse customer bases while providing essential services that maintain community economic circulation and reduce dependence on external suppliers. Service businesses, including transportation, equipment repair, and specialized trades, provide essential services while creating employment opportunities that utilize different skill sets and serve various market segments. This economic diversity ensures that community-wide economic collapse becomes unlikely even when individual sectors experience difficulties, while providing employment alternatives for community members during sector-specific downturns. Multiple income sources create community resilience while reducing economic vulnerability that affects communities dependent on single industries or employers.